Welcome to a significant results video. Today we're going to be talking about the first 3 days of AP Statistics. So let's get started, okay? Let me clear off a little bit of space here, if I can. Let's see here. Alright. Font size is normal. There we go. Alright. Bye, Steve. We're going to erase some space here. And let's talk about, the first 3 days of AP Stats. Okay, so let's get this started off. We have day 1. In day 1, we're going to be comparing categorical versus quantitative variables. Alright. Day 2, we're going to be comparing, well actually we're not going to be comparing anything. We're going to be talking about displaying graphical representations, I'm just going to abbreviate, of categorical variables. Alright? Ooh, I have a security alert here. Let me turn that off. Okay, day... Alright, and so for day 3, we're going to be talking about marginal distribution tables. Okay, and sometimes those are called two-way tables. Okay, so let me go ahead and slide my cursor over just a bit. What's the mouse on this one? Okay. And let's clear off a little more space here. Take a few notes on day 1 here. Alright. So, day 1. Categorical versus quantitative variables. I want to keep this video lecture as simple as possible. So let's just go ahead and we'll discuss what quantitative variables are so that we know what categorical variables are not. Quantitative variables, you need to be able to measure them with units. So directly measurable. I don't know. Hopefully I spelled that right. I don't know. Maybe it's just A-B-L-E. But okay, so quantitative variables directly measurable. Whereas, and quite frankly, you need to have some sort of units that go along with those. Categorical variables. I hesitate to use the word subjective, but quite frankly, they're things that you cannot ascribe units to. The results are not something that you can measure a quantity of. For instance, if I like you, or if I ask you how much you like ice cream, we might say on a scale from 1 to 10. But then again, I have to take your word at it. It's not like I used a measuring device to see if you really think vanilla ice cream is the best and you rate it as a 10. I just have to take your word at that. So categorical variables are those that we cannot measure directly and or really indirectly, and there's no units that we can use to measure those or to express the measurement of those variables. So let's just go ahead and talk about a couple examples really fast. One example would be for a categorical variable. This is one that we did in class. We said let's compare academic success. What are some ways that we can compare academic success between institutions that would be categorical? Maybe how tasty is the cafeteria? Food. So maybe that'll be one. Another one might be how beautiful is the campus, and maybe how that relates to a student's feeling and their academic success. Categorical. It's not something that we can measure. It's not going to be a measurement in SI units like millimeters or cubic centimeters or anything like that. So now let's go ahead and talk about quantitative variables for that same sort of hypothetical. Well, if it's an undergraduate institution, we might be able to compare it based on how much it cost in dollars. Okay. Another one that we might be able to measure quantitatively is the teacher per student ratio. So just a couple little examples there. And of course we'll have some more videos where we actually do some examples on that. Let's go ahead and talk about day 2. Alright, I'm going to come back over here to the far left side. Day 2. Day 2 is displaying graphical representations of categorical variables, and those are going to come down to pie charts and bar graphs. Pie charts, we need to make sure that we're talking about one whole sample or population. And our percentages must add up to 100%. So the data that is usually going to be displayed in a pie chart is going to be represented by percentages. Don't have to be, but most of the time it will be. And of course the whole pie represents one whole, or 100%. Bar graphs, you'll see these organized a couple different ways. Sometimes you'll have vertical bar graphs, and sometimes you'll have horizontal bar graphs. Whatever you do, you need to make sure that you label what the different axes are, okay? Make sure to always label those. And another type of graph that sometimes you'll see sort of in the idea of bar graphs are pictographs, and that's where they use pictures to represent your different variables. So it might be something as simple as, what's your favorite planet? And maybe we have some different planets: the Sun, Earth, Mars, and Pluto. We need to make sure that our planets are the same size. If we make one of them really big, we're not using units of the same size, so it is going to be a misleading pictograph, alright? I'm going to actually come back on with another video to talk very briefly about day 3.